Man, what is going on, everyone? Dude, this is one of those double I swides that I feel like is just completely necessary in 2019 because we can learn a lot from this phone. Even though this phone probably no one is even looking at getting, I think this is more so of like a nostalgic type of look back, and I love doing these type of videos too, man. These are, oh my god, you guys have no idea. Like, the memories I have from this phone, like, I used to like take pictures on like the front camera, like this thing had it, and I used to listen to songs through the music app, and I used to text your mom, my baby mom, all that stuff. Dude, it was crazy stuff, man. And the iPhone 4S, man, this thing was released in 2011, and that's 7 years ago, bro. That's crazy. There's probably some people, almost, bro, it was like 8 years ago, dude. My math is so bad. Think about it. Some of you guys watching this video could potentially be younger than this phone, which is crazy to think, man, because my demographic is mostly like 6 years old, so that's pretty crazy stuff, man. And the iPhone 4S was kind of an important step. I wouldn't say it was the most important iPhone. I would probably give that to maybe the iPhone 4. Obviously, the first iPhone was most important, but I think the iPhone 4 really changed the way the iPhone kind of looked. But the iPhone 4S kind of took that same design and kind of renovated it a little bit. It brought a lot of crazy stuff with it too, but I think this phone was kind of left at a really weird spot, and I'll get into that in the software side of things, but I still think that this phone is still one phenomenal looking device. I probably picked this up for maybe like $30-$40. This was probably like a year and a half ago, but there were, dude, I've seen so many of these on eBay that are just like partially broken or still even like in working conditions for like $15, $17, $20, dude. This thing still feels like a very premium device, and the fact that it's selling for that low is insane, man. This thing's going to be a relic in a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a look around the body, all these things, man. You guys don't want to hear me talk all day. This thing had a 3.5-inch screen, which at the time wasn't even that small. There were devices that had like 4.3-inch screens at the time and like 4-inch screens, but this thing for 3.5 inches got the job done. This kind of was the baseline of how small of a phone screen was, or kind of average, I guess. If a phone manufacturer released a screen with 3.5 inches, it'd be pretty small, even though we all, like another iPhone SE2 is kind of crazy. Now, the screen resolution was 640 by 960. This was technically a Retina screen, which the iPhone 4 kind of pioneered, so really cool thing that I appreciate Apple doing. And this thing had a glass back. It still had the old iPhone connector, home button on the front camera that the iPhone 4 brought, and overall, man, the design of this thing was one of the greatest things ever, man. This thing felt very premium and so many nostalgic. Now, believe it or not, I never even owned an iPhone, so me texting all those people and calling your mom and all that stuff was a complete lie. I had no friends in 2011, so I was trying to look cool, to be honest, so I'm sorry. But I did have like an iPhone 3GS at one point, and like the backlight was broken. I think that was probably around 2011, 2012, so pretty crazy that I was still too poor to afford an iPhone 4S, but man, nonetheless, the iPhone 4S was on my bucket list to get. And like I said, the main problem and the main legacy that the iPhone 4S had wasn't necessarily a legacy of good things, and even I talk about it sometimes. The iPhone 4S was left in a pretty bad spot from Apple, and what I mean by that is that it started with iOS 5, and it got many versions of iOS, and this is one of those rare iPhones that got an extra year of support, so it ended up getting iOS 9 when it technically end of life should have been iOS 8, and so it eventually got iOS 9.3.5, and that's what I'm running on it currently. And I'll tell you right now, man, there's no easy way to say it, man. This phone is very slow. Not only is it slow, it's just buggy, it's choppy, everything just does not run well on it, and that's kind of on the performance side of things. But even though iOS 9.3.5 kind of had a lot of features, it was still not a good performing phone. I hate to say it because I love Apple, I love iPhones. I think the iPhone 4S was very decent. I just think that Apple left it at a weird spot. This is one of those cases, rare cases at that, where I was like, Apple should have just left it at iOS 8 or whatever version the last one was, 8.3. whatever it was. They should have left it at that. They should have not continued on with iOS 9.3.5 and let it get all those updates and just kind of kill it that way. But you know what? It is what it is. Are we going to go back in time and fix that? No, but I really don't think anybody out there is planning on getting an iPhone 4S anymore, so it's kind of a weird legacy. Now you know. Now that's kind of on the software side of things. Let me just hit on the performance. Now, if you see my other double I swides that I've done last year, not a lot has changed because this phone hasn't gotten any updates for like 3-4 years now. So this thing had the Apple A5 chip, a dual-core CPU, and a half a gig of RAM. Okay, so 512 megabytes of RAM. This phone's performance literally is the fastest phone ever used, much faster than the iPhone XS Max, the Galaxy S10. This phone is faster than the Galaxy S10. It hasn't even came out yet. That's how fast this phone is. Just kidding, you guys know. I mean, what I'll tell you is this phone at a time was necessary, okay, to say the least, or to maybe even to say the most. I feel like I didn't know too much back in 2011, 2012 when this phone was like the highest, the cream of the crop, but I did hear a lot of stories of this phone being a very good phone. People recommended it all the time. It consistently was on top of like top 5 phones of 2011 or 2012, whatever, I don't know the list at the time, but a lot of people bought this phone. And to kind of delve that back in, I mean, the performance right now isn't the greatest, like multitasking, going through apps, I mean, it isn't the best. I don't want to hate on it too much because this is more of a nostalgic look, but I definitely think that overall Apple could have done a better job leaving it at iOS 8. I really wish I had an iPhone 4S on iOS, like an earlier version, which I actually do. I have one on iOS 7 or 8, I don't remember, but it does have a broken screen, so I don't know how to fix that. It still works though, kind of. I mean, I might have made a video about it, I don't remember, but nonetheless, whatever you're going to do with this phone right now in 2019, it probably will not be able to handle it. Even going through web pages is exhaustively slow, man. I want to know, does anybody still use an iPhone 4S as their main phone? If you do, I need you to send me proof either on Instagram or Twitter, or even leave a comment, but you can't send pictures. But yeah, I guess I gotta trust you. Whether you leave a comment or whatever, just let me know if you're still using an iPhone 4S as a main phone. And if you're lying about it, I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna delete your comment and I'm gonna report you to the authorities, right? But nonetheless, I think the iPhone 4S's performance probably is not that good right now, but at a time it was, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, alright? Now moving on, this is one of those topics where I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna go with this, but the camera is an 8 megapixel camera, and what I'll tell you is, even though right now this camera probably will not even pass as a lot of phones front facing cameras, I think that it had a time and place, and you know, you were able to shoot videos on it, 1080p videos at that. You were able to do a lot more other stuff with it, and obviously iMessage is there, so you can easily transfer photos back and forth, and I guess, I mean, that's kind of going to more software things. The overall camera quality is fairly decent for a 7 or 8-year-old phone. Is it an amazing camera quality? Probably not. Is it a 10 out of 10? Is it even a 5 out of 10? No, it's probably like a 3 out of 10 now. But back in 2011, 2012, it was probably like a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, man. Like, it was the cream of the crop. Like I said, it was one of the greatest phones you could buy. So even though right now, as it stands, it's probably not that good at all, back in the time it was. And I'll tell you right now, man, if you're in good lighting conditions, you could probably pull off some decent photos from this thing. I wouldn't probably recommend using it as your main phone just because of that one feature, the camera. You want to be in a position where I can convincing people not to buy an iPhone 4S in 2019. But if you're taking family photos or whatever, I guess you want to use a better camera. But man, it's all up to you, man. The front camera is VGA. It doesn't even give a megapixel count. I don't know what that stands for. So you could shoot 480p videos on it if you wanted to do that. So that's something. So what I tell you is, man, the camera quality is respectable. I don't want to hate on it too much, but I do appreciate what the camera quality did for the future of Apple, so I'll give it that. Now, I want to hit on battery life for a second, but I really don't want to. This thing had a 1,432 milliamp hour battery. Now, here's the crazy thing, okay? That's a pretty big size battery for this phone, and I think the battery life, especially the standby time, is very, very respectable. This is what I mean. This phone probably has been in a cupboard of mine for like at least like 3 weeks since the last time I turned it on, and this thing is still turning on. It's at like 30-40% battery life. If I left my iPhone 10 for a couple of days, the battery life would just probably die in like 3-4 days maybe, if I didn't even touch it. This thing, man, 20 days probably this thing's still going for, man. Crazy stuff. And believe it or not, some iPhones being released now still, well, not now, but last year, I mean, the iPhone 8 had like a 1700 milliamp hour battery maybe. This thing had a 1400 milliamp hour, over a 1400 milliamp hour battery. That's crazy. There's only like a 200-300 milliamp hour difference, and obviously the software isn't that optimized to use a bunch of performance, so I think the battery life is pretty decent on this device. So hey, man, that's a really good thing, man. That's a lot of phone manufacturers still can't nail that, but the iPhone 4S did all these years ago, so that's pretty respectable. I love that about this phone. Now, some other notable things to note. This thing obviously is pretty decent looking. I mean, it feels pretty premium in the hands. Glass on the front, glass on the back, pretty sick. Front home button and the old 30-pin Apple connector on the bottom. Headphone jack, so that's a really huge advantage for this phone. No fingerprint sensor or anything like that. And I mean, what I'll tell you is, I don't think a lot of people are watching this video to buy the iPhone 4S. I don't think they're doing that. I think this is more so of a nostalgic look. So what I'll tell you is, I'm not going to tell you whether you should buy an iPhone 4S or not. I think you can make that decision for yourself. I mean, obviously I would say not to buy it, but I own an iPhone 4S, and it's not because I want to use it, but because it kind of means something to me in a way. I mean, I guess not. I mean, it's kind of like sobby, but it's kind of a cool thing to kind of keep in your collection. If you're an Apple collector, I own every single iPhone almost, and this is just in my collection. So if you're one of those people, then obviously go buy it. But if you're still owning an iPhone 4S in 2019, I would honestly be surprised, and I would just ask you why. Why are you doing that to yourself? And I don't mean that in a mean way. If you got offended by that, then go get offended. I don't care about you. Totally joking. It's just a joke, guys. But But no, why are you still using iPhone 4S? I'd wonder. I mean, these phones, I mean, like I said, you can get them for like $20, probably even less, but an iPhone 5S is like $40 more, and iPhone 6S is like maybe like $100 more. And I understand not everyone's financially capable, but I do think like a newer phone has a really huge impact on your life, especially when coming from like an iPhone 6 or below phone. So what I'll tell you is, man, the iPhone 4S means a lot to me. It meant a lot to the Apple ecosystem overall, and I definitely do appreciate the overall history of the iPhone 4S, man. And I think that's the best way I can leave this out without getting anybody offended. I feel like I offended every single race, religion, ethnicity out there by this video, but I don't mean any harm. I just want to spread love and everything. That's why I love the iPhone 4S, and I think that's where I'm going to end this video. Man, this video was everywhere, man. Let me know what you guys think. Do you still own the iPhone 4S? Do you not? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that don't mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. Guys, listen, okay? I'm dropping a giveaway very, very soon. I just needed someone to make a song about me. No one still hasn't done it yet, so I think that was a contradiction. Go on my Twitter, go look at that tweet, go DM me some songs. You have to be singing or rapping. Don't just send me the lyrics. When somebody makes a song about me or whatever, I'm gonna post that video of the giveaway. It's already queued up in my thing, so I just gotta hit the upload button. But man, I'm just waiting on you guys. Somebody make a song quickly so I can drop that giveaway video. Check out the links in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those things are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.